Welcome everyone to The Howl. I'm Emily Durkin, and in this episode, I sat down with varsity girls basketball coach Courtney Ludois to discuss the end of the 2023 to 2024 season. In this episode, we focused on the final games of the season and what's to come for next year. Thanks for joining, and we hope you enjoy. Hello everybody and welcome back to The Howl. My name is Emily Durkin and I'm very excited to have varsity girls basketball coach Courtney Ludois here in the Dispatch podcast studio powered by Jet's Pizza. Congrats on a great season.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
Of course. So I want to take things back to the MSL championship really quick to start this. You guys ultimately lost to Fremd 58-49. Throughout the entire game, the score stayed tight, but it slipped in the fourth quarter. What was it that ultimately led to that gap loosening in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, and I just want to go back. We played Fremd in November and lost by 31, I believe. And so, first of all, I was just so proud of our kids and how far we've come between November and the MSL championship game, losing by 9. Ultimately, we had to foul. We were up down 2 or 3 for most of the game, and then in the fourth quarter, we had to try to foul, and they made free throws. So that ultimately led to, I think, the 9-point gap. But it felt close for most of the game.
What kind of preparation does a team have to put in to prepare for such a big game like that?
A lot. So us as coaches, we watch a ton of film. We make a scouting report that we ultimately go through with our kids, kind of talks through their personnel, their tendencies for their players, and how, the things that they do on offense and defense, what we need to do to be successful. So a lot of it comes in outside of practice and games. And so then after we watch film, we decide what we need to prioritize in practice. We work on those in practice, and then we watch film with our kids, and then ultimately focus on the main things that we think will make us successful.
At that MSL championship game, you were presented with the MSL East Coach of the Year. Congrats.
Thank you.
It was voted on by your fellow coaches. What did it mean to you for your fellow MSL East coaches to give you that title?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously as a coach, it's not something that you go into the season saying oh, I want to be MSL East Coach of the Year. It's not really ever a goal, but it does it's good validation that your peers see you as a good coach. And I feel like I had a lot to prove this year in hindsight now that the season's over. Just coming off of, they went to state last year. Fenley had been here for 25 years. I feel like I had a lot that I was trying to prove that that I did belong here, that I was a good coach. So I feel like that was just kind of validation of all the hard work that we put into the season.
When looking back on the season, do you feel that the team accomplished everything that you wanted to?
We never really put we want to win the regional, we want to win the sectional. We pretty much just had the little goals of we need to continue to be better. And I know when we met at the beginning of the season, we talked a lot about that. We had to be better every single day. And it took a little bit of time, but I feel like we finally clicked around our first prospect game was the beginning of January. And I think we accomplished a good amount, especially with pretty much a brand new team from last year with only one returning starter. We won the MSL East. We won our regional. I really would have liked to have won at least that first game of the sectional. I thought we were right there, losing to Stevenson by 1. But I do think we accomplished what we needed to this season.
Did you come here with any specific goals in mind or just from Fremd that you've noticed from Hersey?
My number one goal was to win the East. And we lost in Meadows in the middle of December. And at that point, we're I don't know if it's going to happen. But we continued to get better. And we eventually put ourselves in that position to win the East. And I feel like that was the number one goal we wanted to accomplish this year.
Starting off the season, there were a lot of new players, as you mentioned, with the new roles. Do you think having that dynamic was more of an advantage or a disadvantage?
It's a little bit of both. It's a disadvantage in that we noticed that once we got into a few close games, none of them have ever been in that situation. I would say besides Annika, maybe Kiki a little bit, all of them were brand new to that high pressure type of situation. I think at the beginning we lost some close games because of our inexperience, but I feel like the advantage to it was there were no expectations for this group, and I just told them that all the time, just go out and play, just remember why you love basketball, go out there and play, enjoy it. And I feel like once we kind of like figured out how to do that, it became an advantage that we were new.
What was the most challenging part of this season?
I think just the grind of it, honestly, is tough. It's a really long season. It goes November through all the way through February, almost into March. And I feel like it's really easy to, want to take days off and want to get that break. And our kids, they need those breaks, but we also have to keep working, especially when you're a new team. You can't take those days off. You can't rest. And so I feel like just the day-to-day grind of all of that can be a struggle.
What are you most proud of from this season?
I mean, I felt probably just our growth. I mean, the Fremd game is a real tangible way to see our growth going from losing by 31 to losing by 9. I just feel like I'm just proud of our kids for trusting us, trusting me as a brand new coach. I feel like change can be hard, and I feel like they really came into this with like a fresh perspective and like willing to welcome change and work on all that. So I think I'm mainly just proud of how we came together as a team at the end of the season.
I went to a few games this season, and something that I noticed was that the team has their dedicated fans. What does it mean to the team to know that Hersey girls basketball has that special place in the community?
I think that's huge, and a lot of it, sometimes we'd have a good student section, and sometimes we had a good like community show. I think it means the world to them to know that people care and that people want to come see them play. And I think as we continue to get better, they want to come see us play more. Like, man, they're playing a lot better. I want to go see the growth. I thought it was also really cool. We had a lot of our feeder kids that would come out, and that's always exciting to see them in the stands because they're going to be out on that court here soon too. So having that school, that student, that community support, I think is really important.
What was, let's say, your favorite memory from this season?
Oh, man, favorite memory. I think winning that regional with this group was so exciting. And I feel like you can't ever overlook winning a regional. And we did not play well in that game. We struggled through probably 3 quarters and then finally pulled it out in the 4th. But I feel like their grit and their determination to finish that game and to win a regional was huge, because they could have easily been like, oh, it's not our day and we'll go home. But they dug down. They did what needed to do down the stretch.
Looking forward to next year, what are you going to take from this season and try and bring it to the next?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be a whole new crew next year. We're losing 3 starters, including, Annika, our post player, who was our leading scorer. But we have a lot of other kids that are coming back, like Kate Donovan, Kiki Kraft, our 2 remaining starters. And then our freshman post player, Sadie Marks, I think is going to really have to take an increased step up. We also have a few kids like Grace Grabowie, who came off the bench, that is going to have to give a lot of meaningful minutes, and she's definitely ready for that. She started for 2 years at Vider, and she knows how to do that. So I'm excited about the crew we have next year. I think we're going to look a little different because we're going to be a little bit more guard-oriented than we were this year, but I feel like just having 1 year under our belts and them knowing me and knowing our system now is going to be a huge advantage. We'll already be ahead of the game next year.
And is there anything you're planning to change or focus more on next season?
Like I said, I think we're going to be a little bit more guard-oriented. So a lot of our set plays kind of revolved around Annika and trying to get her a touch. So I feel like we're going to have to be more creative with getting our guards opportunities to score the ball. And we'll continue to play fast. We'll do all that stuff that we did this year, but maybe a little bit of a shift towards our guards.
And lastly, do you have any goals for this upcoming season?
I think I'm going to just stick with our goal of getting better every day. Obviously, having won the East this year, that should always be our goal every year. And the postseason, we'll see how we're playing, and hopefully we're playing our best basketball by that point.
Well, that's it for today's show. Thanks to Coach Ludois, and thanks to our viewers for tuning in. Also, thanks to our sponsor, Jets Pizza, right over there on Rand Road. That will do it for this episode. I'm Emily Durkin. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next episode.